Let's go now to Patrick Moley, who's the senior research analyst at Piper Sandler, the author of the note on which that data is based. Patrick, good to see you.
Good to see you, Contessa. Thanks for having me on.
What is fueling the spectacular growth that we're seeing? And it's not just Robinhood and Kalshi and Poly Market. It's also new entrants as well.
Yeah, so I think right now I would bucket prediction markets into two separate buckets, if you will. So you have sports contracts and you have non-sports contracts. Sports is driving the majority of growth right now. If you look at a platform like Kalshi, it's driving about 80% of volumes in any given week. And a big reason for that is that prediction markets are regulated at the federal level by the CFTC. So unlike if you're a retail user in a state where sports betting or sports books is not yet available, you're able to access a similar product through prediction markets. So I think there's no doubt that some of the pent-up demand in those states for the sports contracts has been driving a lot of the growth. And then if you look at the non-sports contracts, things like weather events, economic indicators, we're seeing strong growth there, almost 250% annualized volume growth. We think that's pretty much driven by just a number of retailers, retail platforms beginning to offer event contracts. Just overall awareness of the space is growing quite rapidly, and we think that'll continue in the coming year.
I know you don't cover the gambling companies, but I do. So you've got DraftKings and FanDuel, which is owned by Flutter, jumping into the fray. Fanatics as well has jumped into the predictions market, much to the chagrin, by the way, of some of their peers in the gambling industry. In fact, they've been kicked out of the Gambling Trade Association. Do you think there is such a thing as too many players in this prediction market space?
I think it depends on the types of contracts that you're looking at. The sports books, it seems, are framing this as it's a way for them to enter states where they've been unable to enter in years past. But I think going forward, offering some form of prediction markets is going to be key to retail platforms if they want to attract this kind of newer wave of retail trader. I think it'll follow a similar dynamic to what we saw in crypto. You saw a lot of retail brokers off the start that were very hesitant about crypto, didn't know if they wanted to offer it. Since then, they've embraced it, and now they're offering it alongside cash equity and derivative trading. So I think you're going to see a similar dynamic play out in the retail space, and I think you'll see the number of platforms that are offering these types of contracts grow in the coming years pretty significantly.
Patrick, you said in your most recent note this week that you're particularly excited about the growth on the sports side of this equation, that it's up, what was the number? More than 1,000% over month over month and year over year?
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Close to that, yeah.
Okay. But that is still a question that is being battled out at the federal level in the courts. The states are fighting tooth and nail. Tribes are saying it violates their sovereign right to offer gambling. Can prediction markets continue this trajectory of growth if sports are not a factor?
Yeah, there's obviously, a number of legal battles that are ongoing at the state level. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not going to speculate around what could potentially happen there. If it was to go in the state's favor, I think it would no doubt impact the growth of prediction markets and the trajectory right now, just given that it's such a large part of the market. But, you look at a platform like Poly Market. It's one of the most downloaded apps in the U.S., yeah. Even before they rolled out trading to U.S. customers. So what does that tell us? It tells us that retail traders are using it to act as an information source. They want to get information on the odds of any specific event occurring, and I think it goes well beyond sports.